We'd like to begin this podcast by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Whadjuk Noongar people, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging.
This episode of Talking Couch Potatoes is brought to you by Henry Houndwear, the brand that all the best dressed hounds are wearing. To find yours, go to henryhoundwear.com.au.
Maleficent, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm all right. It's episode 63 of Talking Couch Potatoes. Welcome back, everyone. It's lovely to be here. And a big shout out to our Christian brothers and sisters out there. Hope you have a lovely Easter.
Yeah, and just we hope everybody has a nice
holiday.
Time off.
Yeah, if you're not Christian, then, you just enjoy the public holidays.
Yeah.
What I could say at this Easter weekend, Mel, is it's time to end this racing business, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's way past time.
What else is going on other than we're having a little breather over the weekend, waiting for the inquiry report?
Yeah, well, it's going to be longer than this weekend, but thank goodness that is over, because as much as we love speaking out for the greyhounds, it can be very daunting when you're taking on government, legislation, big organisations that are involved, and even upsetting people or participants involved in the sport. But our care about the dogs is stronger, so we do it. So now, having had that over and done with, it's kind of, you
can breathe out.
Yeah.
On a brighter note, Mel.
Yes. Come to a wedding.
Have I told you the three things that I love the most?
You have.
Nanas. I've got a big thing for nanas. Bingo.
Yes.
Take me to a bingo hall any day. Weddings.
Absolutely.
Love weddings. Is there anything where I could partake in three of my favourite things?
Yes.
What is it, Mel?
At our Nana Bingo fundraiser. Nana's getting married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When's it on, Mel?
It is on the 16th of May. That's a Saturday, and it's doors open at 6 p.m.
Where's it at, Mel?
It is at the Jim Satchell Community Centre in Dianella.
What's going to be there, Mel?
Lots of great people that love to come together, have a laugh, and really love greyhounds.
Bring your own food. That makes it a cheap night, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can bring your own little schnackies.
Yep. The bar, and it's always a cheap bar, I've noticed.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And you can bid on stuff.
There's
stuff. Cool stuff.
There is some tattoo vouchers that you can bid on. There is also a brilliant cooking experience with Mark Layton's wife,
Hi, Claire. How are you, Claire?
Yes.
She's awesome, by the way.
And
I've met her.
she's from Sprinkles and Sprouts. And,
And auctions. There'll be auctions.
Yes, silent auctions.
I love the
live auction.
I'll be in the live auction. And Warren, is Warren going to run it again? Warren. Honestly, he did me over last time because he did me over, and I'll speak to him personally about this because I could tell he was coordinating because he knew I have to win the auctions, right?
Yes.
So I think
very competitive.
I think he had some secret betters just to knock me out.
To push you up.
Yeah. Yeah, and luckily...
Good on him.
Well, it all goes to the Hounds. But I'll be watching you this year, Warren.
It'll be fun. It'll be a great time. So please come along. Get your tickets. They're available on Humanitix. You just have to search for Free the Hounds or go to our social media and have a look for the event there.
Yeah, it's awesome. And you've got to get in quick because people say, it sells out quickly just to sell tickets. No, it sells out quickly. You'll miss out, mate.
And it was so much fun last time. People are really wanting to get there again.
Yep. And Nana's just a doll.
She's really good.
She's
and so
awesome.
Is her granddaughter.
Yep. Mel.
Yes.
We've got, my new favourite segment, Foster of the Fortnight. Mm-hmm. What's going on?
It's a little bit different this week. And I say that because Greyhound Adoptions WA, who so far have been the only organisation to reach out. So if there's any other greyhound rehoming organisations that need us to do a shout out, please reach out.
We had Lisa from Friends of the Hounds on, who New South Wales group.
Yeah.
We have listeners all over the country. We could maybe even do a foster of the thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that way Lisa wouldn't have to have 37 dogs in her house at one point.
Absolutely.
Jesus Christ.
If you do reach out to us, send us an email at podcast@freethehounds.com.au. But for this fortnight, Greyhound Adoptions WA really urgently need new foster carers. So if you have the ability to have a dog in your home, honestly, if you can be an emergency foster carer for one night, there is always good to have those kinds of people on the books. But if you have some time for a dog, they've got several dogs waiting for urgent foster carers. So there's one dog called Finn, a dog called Fernando, and there's also 3 other dogs that are in kennels still awaiting a home.
And how grateful will those doggies be to have a comfy couch, even if they're a little, worried, a little bit trepidatious. Imagine what you're going to do for these houndies, give them a comfy couch.
And particularly because some families right now might be on holidays or school holidays and you've got a bit of spare time, it's really good for the greyhounds for you to be home. You don't have to be home all the time, but in the first few days, just to make sure that you're keeping an eye on them. Greyhound Adoptions WA will definitely give you all the help that you need.
Yeah. It's probably incumbent upon us, Mel, to point out the huge danger there is in doing this, though, which is once you meet these beautiful creatures, you're just going to want to keep them.
It's going to be a foster fail.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is good, but also not so good because then maybe a foster carer has been removed from the books. So please really think about doing this for the greyhounds. Yeah. Reach out to them via social media or head to their website.
Speaking of which, Mel, we've got a very interesting guest on our podcast today. She's intimately involved in the rehoming, fostering arena, and she's something I didn't even know existed, Mel.
No, she's a bit special.
I didn't know there was a cat tester.
Yes.
There's there's a person who...
And a cat.
And a cat who test cats for greyhounds. I'll tell you all about her in a minute.
Yes, yep.
Because we're going to have a chat to her.
Absolutely. It's going to be fun.
See you soon. Mel, we were just talking about Fosters of the Fortnight. We're talking about Gower, Greyhound Adoptions WA. So guess what? We've got the perfect guest today. With us in the studio, in person, is Beck Chiffins, who is a foster carer, but more importantly and more curiously to me, is a cat tester for Gower Greyhound Adoptions WA. Beck's got 3 greys, Banjo, who's 9, May, who's 6, Chili is 5, and Pepper, the first one, he passed away at the age of 12. He got a couple of cats, Lynx, who's 12, and Pebbles, who could be any age apparently. She doesn't give it away.
Yep.
She's not interested in...
She doesn't identify
as any age.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. And Beck is the cat adoption coordinator and main tester at Gower, and also is a fosterer, one of the most beautiful human beings on the planet who foster these beautiful hounds. So by testing greyhounds for cat suitability, Gower can rehome greyhounds to adoptive families with cats and reduce the wait list of cat-friendly hound requests. And Beck could probably speak to this, that it is a common myth that greyhounds can't live with cats. Maybe some of them, but not all of them. On top of all the work that Beck does supporting Gower and supporting greyhounds to get beautiful homes, she's a special needs education assistant at primary school. And it's an absolute pleasure to have her here. Hi, Beck. How are you?
Hello. Good, thanks.
That's
Hi,
good.
Beck.
Hello.
How you going?
Good.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm just absolutely and authentically and honestly very curious because I didn't know there was such a thing of, and what a beautiful thing it is to have an actual behavioural process so that houndies can be matched with the appropriate home. First of all, can you tell us just a little bit about how you got into that?
Yeah, I can. So we have always had rescue dogs, my husband and I and kids, and he had just been seeing the Greyhound Adoptions stall at the Baldivis Markets probably 10-ish years ago. We had a rescue staffy. He was a bit dog reactive out on lead, but all right at home. And my hubby just wanted to pursue a greyhound perhaps. So I actually wasn't that bothered about them. I didn't think they were that
Me either.
that cute.
No, the same. This exact same.
And now she's absolutely...
Isn't it crazy what they do to you? I said to Jem, they're
and
just scrawny, ugly-looking things that race on tracks.
Just bony and but liking most dogs in general, I went along with it and had an event in the right place at the right time, and Pepper was there, and the people that had been fostering her, she had been fostered with a cat and their cat wasn't coping, so we just got to take her home that day. And then Tony had my number then and could ring me and ask me to help out if there was just short overnight things at the time. And then it just got a life of its own. And we sort of made a process out of it.
Yeah. It always amazes me, Mel, that hounds have a particular effect on humans. I don't know how many other breeds make humans do
things for them.
They've got this capacity just to sideline the rest of your life. What have you found, Beck? What surprised you once you started fostering?
I guess we were used to rescue dogs in general, and they can have behavioural things or quirks or things you need to be patient with and work with. But I think with greyhounds, they are quite resilient and adaptable, but it's a lot more patience just in the way that they haven't really had any of that socialisation and that interaction in a lot of situations that other dogs have and other breeds have. So, I think it was just realising about needing to go that bit slower and just try different things with them to see how they coped with that. And
I feel like you're talking about two things: resilience, which they have,
yes,
and persistence, which we need.
Yes,
Would that be
true. Yes, definitely. And just understanding that they haven't come from a home. So even though they're an older dog, and you would see them at events, possibly the adopted ones that have been in homes for years that are quite calm and easygoing and settled, as a foster, when they first come in, you're still their first experience being in a home and being in that environment. Even though they're a grown dog, a lot of people sort of expect them to walk into life and know what to do, but they don't. So, yeah, they're not a puppy, but they still need to be taught and guided. And yeah.
So they have limited experience of how to be a companion. But what I've found, and I'd love to hear your view, is they have an incredible capacity to be a companion if given the opportunities, the enrichment and the...
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've certainly had some that come in and could be quite quick to sort of adapt to you and bond with you, and then we have others that take a little bit longer, but then they still, no matter what, they always do come around and definitely warm to the adults and the kids in the house quite quickly.
They soak it up like a sponge, I find, greyhounds. I'm sure all dogs do, but maybe it's because they had such lack of that in there. It's almost like they're just ready to like be treated as companions. Do you have a particular story? Well, maybe how many dogs have you fostered, and is there one particular foster journey that stands out for you amongst them all?
Yeah, so we've definitely had well over 50 dogs in and out of our house over the years. I think there's probably two that I remember needing a bit more special care, and I remember one of them was Jakey. He came in and he was probably one of the first ones we saw as a foster. He had severe pannus. That's the eye condition where I'm pretty sure it's like eye scarring and things like that they get. And he was only 2 years old, and when he came in, his eyes were so inflamed, and just from the second I saw him, I knew something was quite wrong with him. He ended up getting to go and see Colin Sherry, the eye specialist at Champion Lakes, and thanks to him and also another really nice supportive girl, Nina, he got some treatment which really has helped him, and he got adopted, and his adopters took him on with all his eye conditions and things like that. But that was a sad one because he could have been treated so easily with his eye drops for his pannus, but because they wanted to race him, they didn't want those drops in his system or something, is what I was told. So it was a shame to see he had like only 20% eyesight. And yeah, that was a bit of a journey just working with him and trying to help him out. But yeah, he got a really lovely home, and we stayed quite friendly with the adopters, and he gained quite a bit of eyesight back because the meds that he had helped with all the inflammation and that kind of thing. So like, it wasn't cured, as you can't cure pannus, but it definitely, his quality of life, was definitely made so much better once he had people like trying to help him. So
someone's attending to his actual general health needs rather than his. And don't we see this a bit, Mel? Dogs that come from this so-called industry, often teeth, eyes, anything that doesn't impact their capacity to run fast is largely ignored, or isn't it given the attention it needs?
And I'd agree with that. Like with all the fosters we've had come through, that's definitely what we see the most of. They'll come in with pre-existing things that might not be life-threatening, but it's definitely stuff that hasn't been kept up with, teeth, corns, all that kind of thing really, the pannus.
Stuff that doesn't affect them running fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Things too, I think, that take consistency and a longer time to treat.
Yes.
Just because they don't have either financially, they're not able to support drugs that have to be given regularly, or as Beck said, some drugs they can't take because they can't race if it's in their system, if they get tested. And then also the length of time to keep a dog in kennels rather than having a dog there that would earn money.
Yeah. And again, it comes up again how you view these creatures. If you view them as commodities, then you've got to be efficient, because this commodity needs to get onto the market and it needs to make some cash, right? Yep. If you view them as companions, then that's a more relational process that takes time. And so as long as we keep seeing these hounds as commodities, I can't see how they'll ever get the welfare and care that they need.
They think that they take care of them because they want to earn money from them, like they say, but we look after our dogs because they need to be healthy and fit to be able to run. But that's only for such a small amount of time in their life. They're not going to be doing things like teeth and feet regularly, because that's going to impact them much further down the road than the next 18 months that they might race for.
It's a very narrow definition of health.
Yeah.
I'd love to get on to what I'm very intrigued about, cat testing. How you test a cat with a greyhound, vice versa. First of all, what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have? Because I think I've even come across people that think greyhounds would see a little cat and see it as a little furry thing on a lure. And so it's pretty common that people think absolutely not. But that's wrong, right?
Yeah, it is. And even me, like sort of 9-10 years on, we still get surprised by the reaction some of the dogs give to the cats when they come in. And we've just learnt that you actually just have to take every single dog as themselves. You don't know what they're going to be like. But I think the biggest misconception is a lot of people think the dogs that have raced and had a racing career will be no good with cats, and that the unraced dogs, they want one of those, they usually say, because that'll be good with cats. And that's not true at all. Like, I think we've probably had more race dogs pass than not raced. And I think some of that is to do with them being older and more settled.
Wow.
Some of the younger ones might not pass, and it's not necessarily because they don't want to, they're not going to do any harm to the cat, but sometimes they're just too energetic, they're too playful. They actually look to the cat for a bit of interaction in play, and that's just not. A lot of cats aren't going to put up with that. You know, you can't just go off of that.
Yeah.
And they're individual, aren't they? Like, this is the unique. I mean, sure, all dogs have personalities, but in my experience, greyhounds have such a diverse range of personalities.
And they can change within 100%. A day.
Right, yeah.
That dogs' personalities can be a million different things in one day.
And it's an adventure to watch it flourish, to watch them grow and change and develop their personalities. So it's no wonder that some greyhounds will be great with cats, some will want to play with them as toys, and some will scare the shit out of them.
And it does depend too on the cat.
100%.
The cat has a very big part to play in it.
I was going to ask, actually, so Beck, in terms of...
talk about Lynx, hopefully.
Yeah, in terms of cat testing, right, my guess is you do what sort of me and Jem do when we're not getting along. We just lock ourselves in a room for 24 hours and we don't come out until we're not fighting. Is that how it works?
I wish it was that easy. But look, we do hang out in a big room, like the open space living sort of area of my house with the greyhound and the cat when they first come to us. And I pretty much will let the greyhound see and know that the cat, I have 2 cats, but it's mainly Lynx that will start out because he just doesn't care. Yeah, we just do a lot of hanging out in the same space as the cat and with the greyhound muzzled and on lead. And I have lots of little cubes of cheese and things like that to try and reward and distract. So when they first come in, they'll come in, they meet my dogs first, get that excitement out of the way. Then my greys know their spots and they go to their spots in the house, and we've got a couple of baby gates and things like that. And then we want to have a nice sort of calm, chilled vibe, and the foster dog will have its muzzle on, it'll be on lead, I'll have the treats there ready to go. I normally have Pebbles away at the moment because she's usually a little bit more skittish or a little bit too friendly. So yeah, we do lots of walk-bys and just let the greyhound notice the cat. Generally, all of them are interested when they first see it. So because most of the time they haven't seen a cat, so they want to get to it, they want to sniff it. Pretty much all of them want to sniff its butt. So I work with it and see whether the dog's sort of showing that it's okay enough to get close enough for a sniff or not. And then also I'm treating and I'm trying to see if I can break the dog's interest in the cat and that sort of thing. Sometimes you'll bring one in and we'll do that, and maybe even within 10 minutes I'll just call a no because the dog will be so fixated, so reactive, salivating, high stiff tail wags, or sometimes not even moving at all, and you just know that's more prey driven. But yeah, sometimes they can be really loud and you can bring them in and they're already sort of rearing up and wanting to do that. So I won't, if I just see those kind of behaviours, I just won't put Lynx further through that, or the dog, because it's not worth the stress for all of them. But look, if they're looking good, we'll do the lead and the muzzle and just hanging around where the cat is for ages. And then I want to see how the dog's going to react when Lynx is actually walking around and when they might jump up on a bench, or just see what their reactions are like. And then you can do things like you might drop the lead but still have it hanging so that if you need to, you can still get them. You leave their muzzle on. Oh, it could be over days, it could be over hours. You might then choose to lead off, might leave the muzzle on, and then you want to see what the dog's going to do when it can do what it wants on its own accord. Some of them sometimes will want to have a chase, and that doesn't always mean they're not cat friendly, because it's not so much about them wanting to follow the cat, because that's just the natural instinct of the dog, I think. It's about trying to work out what their intention is when they do follow it. But you do have to be careful with that and make sure that if you're letting that situation happen, you have to have it quite controlled.
You want to be on the ball, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Is this play or prey?
Yes, you've got to be controlled watching that. But look, some of the dogs move through the steps really quickly.
I was going to ask you, actually, have you ever had like ones where it's just a dream? It's a love at first sight.
Oh, yeah, heaps.
Really?
Yes, probably the last 6 I've had have all been like that. So we've been very lucky. I haven't had a real strong no for a little while. But yeah, they're the best ones when you get a definite no or a definite yes from the beginning. It's harder when you get the in-between ones where they seem okay, you're not sure, they need a little bit more training, but it's not that they're not cat okay, but they still need to go to someone that's a little bit more savvy or willing to put a little bit of work in and a little bit of, procedures. And some people, they want to adopt them and they want to know 100%, oh, this dog's cat friendly. And I always say to them, I'll never say 100% because it is about the dynamic as well of the cat, if there's other dogs, other cats, also you as people and how you are in the home and your routines. Like it's all down to that sort of thing as well. And I've had my dogs there. Great with my cats. Lynx is definitely the boss of the house, but we've been out on walks and I've had my dogs want to chase a cat out on the street before because it's just something runs and it's just that instinct to look and want to run. And then when it registers, oh, it's just a cat type thing. Yeah. And I have seen some of them want to chase when mine have got the zoomies and our other cat Pebbles, who's a little bit more skittish, come out, and some of them have wanted to run after her, and same thing, they'll sort of run and see what she's doing, and when they go, oh, it's nothing exciting, they just stop. But I think it's just about, I guess, working with your dynamic and realising that it's something that you've still got to take some ownership of yourself in your own home. You see pictures on social media and things like that of cats and greyhounds all curled up together and best of friends. And I always say to people, that's great, but the best you should hope for is that they will coexist and perhaps not even interact at all. If that happens down the track, great, it might happen, but just be happy if they just leave each other alone.
And you could honestly buy a kitten and a puppy together and the same thing could happen. They might coexist and that's all.
Yeah.
What's that first moment like when you've just been tasked with cat testing a hound? You obviously love your cat test dummy, Lynx.
Yeah, we're very lucky. He's very good now. Like, you can really gauge by Lynx's behaviour and reaction, and even my own greyhounds as well, whether they're seeing that dog that we've brought in as a threat or whether it's calm and that kind of thing. So it's the whole dynamic, to be honest, now that we've learnt to use.
So you can get a vibe sort of thing.
Yes.
Is Lynx into it? Is he like, I know my job now.
Yeah.
Here comes another one. Oh, right, Mum, I'll just give you a shorthand, a wink and a nod or a...
Yeah, he pretty much is like that. He's pretty calm and chilled, and he will very quickly let you know if he thinks that dog's not a go. He will give him a bat if he needs to, or give him, he just likes to give them the menacing meow and that kind of thing and eyeball them. And
Jem does the same for me.
But yeah, so he's not too bad with it really. We think he understands the drill and...
He rolls his eyes and goes, oh, God, not another one.
Yeah.
He does. He really does.
And can I just point out Lynx, boss cat.
Boss cat we call him, yes. We say he's on the clock.
Yep. He's got 3 legs now.
He does.
Oh. So he is like this boss cat with 3 legs that is in charge.
Wow.
Yep. We did wonder after that happened and he lost his leg. We had a little pause on the cat testing for a little bit because we didn't want to put any extra stress on him, and we thought, I don't know how this will go anymore.
And he was like, send him at me.
Yes, and the first one we got after the leg was all good and he seemed to be back to himself. He was fine, so he continued.
It'd be even more intimidating. I mean, a greyhound walking in to this, 3-legged mafia. Like, what do you got for me, mate? Yeah, see what I've been through.
Yeah, and that's pretty much his vibe.
Brilliant. That's awesome.
And especially being that he lost his leg to a greyhound. I mean, it was,
Yeah, you guys have had a bite at me. You've had a bite at me.
Exactly. You're not getting another one.
I'm still here, mate.
No,
no, he didn't.
He didn't lose it to a greyhound.
That would have been good.
No, he didn't. He didn't. He didn't. No, not at all. No, he was a random, having a street cat moment when he got outside, and that's how that happened. But
see, he's the business.
Yeah,
he's a street cat, mate.
Yeah.
Well, he thought he was, but yes.
Yeah. Oh dear. Beck, you've fostered a shitload, and what a gift you bringing to the hounds. Just as we wrap up today, what's some things you'd like people to understand about what kind of life these hounds have had? Because it is very different from your normal companion animal. What do people need to know?
Yeah, it's true. And I think back to like when we started and things I ended up realising myself is that, they look like grown dogs, like they're not puppies, but they still haven't been exposed to so much. Some of them didn't even know or want to take treats from us because they haven't maybe had that experience of being hand-fed and treated that way. Like obviously they're fed, but, it's probably just given to them in their bowl and left, so they haven't had those hand-fed treats or those cuddles and different things like that.
I used to feed Bunny from my actual mouth. I would hold it, like
like a bird.
Like Lady and the Tramp. Oh. We'd do that.
Spaghetti.
Yeah.
But and I feel like I try and do that with my fosters a fair bit if I can, try and build some trust with them and give them hand feeding in the beginning. So I suppose just even the household noises, that can be different for them. They can find being on their own quite daunting, or if they're left in a quiet house, that can be a lot for them as well. As a foster carer, you're still trying to work with them a little bit on those kind of things. It's not just they come in, it's a grown dog and it's good to go in a home.
Right.
There's got to be some steps and
some
learning and
Yeah, and then again, on the positive side of that is they are so unique. Like once you take that patience and that time and persistence, they give it back to you tenfold.
Yeah, definitely.
Is my experience.
Yeah, and some of them can turn around really quickly. Like I've had one that wouldn't come near me and I'd just have to lay on the floor or lay out the back on the grass. And over those days, she'd come a bit closer. And then I think it was 4 days. And then it was like something just flipped and she loved us and trusted us. So they can change so quickly once they realise that they're safe and
that they can trust you.
I think particularly too if they get moved from kennel to kennel or trainer to trainer, that can be very confusing for them because they don't have that main person or that main safe space from a puppy, which they know now is very important to puppies.
Yeah, and that's what clicks, I think. Once they get that realisation that it is a safe space, you will start seeing that decompression, I suppose, relaxing more and
more of an expanded version of themselves.
Yeah.
Because you've allowed some space for them to expand. So if you want to do that, Mel, if this has inspired you to foster, and I hope it has.
I do need more cat testers. I'd love people to come on board. I've got strategies. I can talk you through it. I can do videos, all of that. So I would love more cat testers because it is hard when you work a full-time job and then to get time to have those dogs coming through.
And it sounds like a really interesting thing to do as well.
Yeah,
even the process you've been
is.
through, and like how cool would it be for the cat to?
Absolutely, that's my day job.
My job is to pull these greyhounds into line and to let you know those who can't.
Yep, and he gets the cheese as well, don't worry. Like he loves the chopped up cheese. So when the greyhound gets it, Lynx gets the cheese as well, and he knows it. He hears it come out and he knows it's like job time.
Yeah. So there's two lots of people. We need more fosterers. Come and foster if you've got a cat.
Yes,
Gawa
please.
can help you understand whether it's a hound right for you. Also, if you've got a cat and you want to help Gawa and be a cat tester, get in touch.
Yeah,
you can contact Gawa, contact Free the Hounds, podcast@freethehounds.com.au. That's been wonderful, Mel.
It's really interesting to know that we have community groups, particularly that don't get any kind of funding, that go to these lengths to ensure that greyhounds can have the best way forward.
It just stuns me all the time that this imbalance in this system, and again, there's people like yourself and the advocacy groups keep stepping forward and keep picking up the deluge and the detritus that's left by this so-called industry. What does that say about where your heart and where your head is at? So just congrats and thank you so much that people like you exist.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Beck.
you for
it's
having
really
me.
nice to chat to you.
Thank you.
And if you've been listening, please step forward and foster and maybe step forward and be a cat tester.
Please.
Thanks, Beck.
Thanks, Beck.
Thank you.
Mel.
Yes.
Yet again, informative, educative. Is that a word?
Educative.
Yeah, educative. Inspiring. Every time, this is what we get to talk to.
I know. It's great.
Yeah. And I hope our listeners out there, because there's a bunch of them, if you've been thinking about fostering, I hope that was enough to inspire you to give it a shot, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And for those people who think greyhounds can't hang around with pussycats, now you know better.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also, if you are thinking of fostering, it's not something that you have to keep doing. You can do it once.
Yeah.
Once is going to help a dog
Yep.
get into a home. If you've just got a spare couple of months, just go for that.
Yep.
Every
So
dog helped is a
I
dog saved.
said the same to Jem when I said, you just marry me once. You don't have to keep doing it, but just give it a shot.
How come everything always goes back to you, Matthew? Do you think the world revolves around you, do you?
No, it revolves around the hounds, Mel.
It does.
All right, thanks for listening. That was episode 63. We'll see you again, unfortunately, I
know,
guess.
right?
We're going to have to do episode 64. Hopefully we'll end soon. we want to end. It's a dark note, but yeah.
Yeah.
But listen in while you can, and we'll release the hounds.